Maybe something you said or did that your mom tried to, then tried to intervene is the cause of it. Maybe something you said or did unknown. You never really know quite what it is. Maybe just his dislike of you was the cause of an argument between your mom and him, and then it got out of control. It doesn't take much to get him out of control. And then there's the worst guilt of all. It's knowing that time and time again your father went after your mother and you did nothing. Of course, you're just a young child, but out of fear for your own safety, you hid upstairs, you pulled the blankets over you, curled up in your bed, you whimpered and you cried, you took the pillows and buried your head under pillows, hoping to drown out the violence. But you knew that your father was going after her again and again and again, and every time you did nothing. And with each such incident, you come to see with ever greater clarity your own weakness, your own incompetence, your own impotence, your uselessness, your cowardice. And the hate grows and festers inside. Not just for the man that you call father, but for yourself as well. It's a horrible, horrible thing to make a young child choose between himself or herself and their mother. It's just horribly, horribly unfair. When I was little, though, I used to daydream about life without my father. I just wanted the fear to go away. I just wanted to get out of this nightmare that was our lives. So I prayed it again to God, the God I was taught about, the God of mercy, the God of love, the God of caring, the God who could do anything. So I prayed again and again to God to remove my father from our lives. But my dad was always there. And every year he got worse and worse and worse. And I began to wonder early on if God really was. I started wondering that question long before my classmates ever started considering those questions. I could not fathom why God would sentence my mom, a saintly woman, to lifelong punishment. I couldn't understand what great sin that she committed or that we, her children, had committed to deserve my father. I lacked the maturity to sort out such questions, but I definitely had enough fear and anger to provoke them. I was too young to see the wisdom in allowing my mom to suffer the violence and abuse of my father. I was too young to understand why God would let innocent children tremble night after night in their beds, fearing that they might not see their mother the next morning. I was thus too young to even see how the mercy and forgiveness of God could extend to my father with all his terrible failings. All I could see in my life was chaos and violence. And it became easy for me to start questioning the existence of God early on. The turmoil of the 60s and 70s, that's when I was a young teenager and then an older teenager. The turmoil of the 60s and early 70s only reinforced my skepticism. The assassinations of John and Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King, who were big heroes, people my age, only to be replaced by corrupt politicians like Spiro Agnew and Richard Nixon. We loathed. So it's utterly corrupt. It's totally disorienting. And then there was the violence of Vietnam. And they didn't cover Vietnam like they cover the war in Iraq, which essentially they don't cover the war in Iraq in the United States. They really covered the Vietnam War. They brought you up close and personal on the battlefield, and you saw soldiers in agony. You saw civilians getting slaughtered, or at least you saw the after effects of that. Pictures of little children running down the street after a napalm attack with their bodies on fire. Night after night after night, you saw the young men being brought home in body bags. And you see that violence on the screen. You see the villages on fire. You see bombs having gone off and body parts all over the place. I mean, they brought you into the battlefield. And we witnessed that horror night after night. And in cities like mine, like Bridgeport, Connecticut, with its massive poverty, we had the race riots and the race wars. Long before gang fights and gangs became popular, we had gangs in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and we were making war on each other in the streets. And we had the burnings, the looting, the race riots. We had it all. And the world just looked like it was all coming apart. Remember, I used to be saying to my mom, I said, I don't think the United States of America is going to last much longer. And then there was, of course, the threat of nuclear annihilation. Could you imagine? All I could see in my world when I reached a teenager confirmed what my father had taught me so well. All I could see in my world was more chaos and violence. I saw that the world was dominated by undiscriminating violence and destruction. And very soon I began to wonder why. Why would an all-loving, all-perfect God make it that way? Why wouldn't he just make us angels if he wanted us to conform to his will and pop us into heaven? I mean, why would he make this inferior creature if he could make this superior being and put us into heaven? It just didn't make sense to me. Why would he expose us to such suffering if he was a God of love? I love my kids. I tried everything possible to protect them from the slightest harm. And he puts us here in this violence, this pain, this fear. Why would he do that? Couldn't a more perfect God make a more perfect world? Couldn't understand it. Where does evil come from, I thought? Temptation, where does it come from? All things come from God. Why would he do that? And then the worst thing I thought was, he's going to pop almost all of us, according to my, almost any faith, he's going to pop almost all of us in hell in the next life for just not having been born in the right creed. Does that seem fair, I thought? I began asking these questions at school, asking them of the nuns. Jeff, that's a good question, I was told. I'll have to talk to Father Hanover about that. I'll get back to you. Remember, Sister Bernadette said that one. She never got back to me. Father Hanover was a very impatient man. He probably said, kick him out of school. I got to high school. I would ask the same question. Finally, junior year religion class, priest, theology major at the university, Sacred Heart University, Fairfield University, a fine institution. He decides he's going to prove to us the existence of God. He begins his proofs. I start bringing up my counter-arguments. We go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Finally, he throws me out of class. But before he throws me out of the class, he says to me, Jeff, if you don't believe in God, what the heck are you doing here in a Catholic school? Up to that point in my life, I never even thought about it. I always thought I was a Catholic. If you asked me that morning, what religion are you? I would have said, I'm a Roman Catholic. Suddenly, when he said to me, Jeff, if you don't believe in God, it dawned on me, do I really believe in God? And then he said, look, anybody who's like Jeff, who doesn't believe in God, just get up and leave the classroom right now. I stood up. I walked out of that classroom. 6 of my students followed me. I convinced them I'm an atheist. So there I was, an atheist, at 16 years old, at a Catholic school, the campus atheist. My friends treated me like I was some sort of hero. I was a big shot on campus after that. That didn't help, of course. Just fed my ego. But the years would pass. But I never lost interest in religion. I always, discussed. I was always eager to discuss faith with almost anybody who was willing to discuss it. And I say that, I think the reason was not because I was searching. At least I didn't really feel I was. I think it was sort of like the way, ex-alcoholics need to become, work for Alcoholics Anonymous or become counselors. They need to stay close to the problem that they feel wronged them so much. And I felt that was the reason why I was so close to, so eager to discuss religion with others.